everyone. Good afternoon and welcome to our webinar today featuring IWES, a pilot bridging program that helps connect employers with well-qualified talent. My name is Jennifer Guo. I am the project coordinator of diversity initiatives here at the Toronto Board of Trade, and I want to welcome all of you for joining us today. Before we begin today's presentation, I want to thank our principal sponsors, Accenture, RBC, Richard Ivey Business School, Rogers, and the Globe and Mail for their valuable contributions to help make this webinar possible. I also want to thank the Ontario Chamber of Commerce for its generous funding and support by way of its Global Experience at Work initiative. We are excited to be introducing you to the IWES program and are looking forward to generating an honest and insightful discussion with all of you. So please be sure to have your questions and comments prepared for our Q&A session following the end of today's presentation. You can enter your inquiry at any time during the webinar, and we will put your questions in a queue and field them to our presenter in the last 15 minutes of the webinar. Just as a reminder, and for those of you using the WebEx system for the first time, please use the Q&A and chat panels on the right-hand side of your screen if you have a question or require any technical assistance. Great. Now, let me introduce you to our speaker. We are pleased to welcome Maureen Ford, who is here with us today. She is the Program Manager of the Information and Communication Technology Council's IWES program. Maureen has held a number of senior management positions in Canadian companies where she demonstrated leadership in organizational change management, project management, relationship management, and implementing IT solutions. She has expertise in leadership, organizational development, and talent management in both corporate and not-for-profit organizations. In her career in ICT, has spanned several corporations in the financial, logistics management, and application management services industry. Great job, Maureen. We're very happy to have you with us today. Now let's move on to the agenda. Now, as you can see on your screen, Maureen will start by giving an overview of the ICTC before moving on to sharing with you some of ICTC's immigration initiatives. Then she will provide you with detailed information on IWES, including how it works, who are its key audiences, and how employers benefit from it. For anyone interested to hire directly through IWES, you will also be provided with the practical next steps to getting involved and starting your hiring process right away. Maureen will then wrap up her presentation by sharing with you an insightful IWES success story. And last but not least, we are going to open up the webinar for questions from you. And with that, I'd like to welcome Maureen to proceed with our session today.
Thank you, Jennifer. I'm pleased to be here to do this presentation on the IWES program and to tell our listeners a little bit about ICTC and its initiatives also. So welcome, everyone on the line. So I'm going to start with a bit about ICTC, and the Information and Communications Technology Council of Canada, ICTC, is the only national organization in Canada leading talent capacity research and policy and program development for the digital economy. ICTC works to create a diverse, prepared, and highly educated Canadian ICT industry and workforce to position Canada as a leader in the global marketplace. ICTC pushes for innovation that will provide standards, labor market intelligence, career pathways, and immigration initiatives for Canadian ICT industry, educators, and governments. ICTC also provides accurate labor market information in Canada. This information is driven by the needs of the industry and will deliver intelligent analysis and insight that will empower stakeholders to make the most effective decisions for ICT human resource issues. ICTC is also a center of expertise in Canadian workforce solutions. ICTC enables industries to maintain a competitive advantage in the global market and develop Canada's future skills and innovative talent. A bit more about ICTC's unique position. We are an independent, neutral policy advisor. We provide authoritative and best-in-class ICT business intelligence. We are an established network of partners, such as government, industry, academia, and international organizations. And we have strong program management and delivery systems. Our Center of Excellence is built on a strong and established model, as you can see here. Through the mobilization of a wide network of stakeholders, ICTC addresses a broad policy scope and provides programs that affect education, industry, youth, Aboriginal First Nations, and women. So I'll just say a little bit about the Center's 5 areas of excellence in the inner part of the diagram. So labor market intelligence, what that means to ICT is it's information about ICT occupations and industry that can be explored, analyzed, and summarized for the purposes of influencing systemic change, impacting policies, and delivering talent development programs. The workplace competency and skills recognition, we have competency profiles for new and existing occupations, and I-Advance certification assists employers in creating effective HR strategies, educators in designing curriculum and training that meet industry needs, and IC practitioners in developing a career pathway. The third one, securing future workforces, increasing awareness of ICTC career among youth, particularly young women, as well as their influencers. The idea here is to improve networks, tools, and resources available to help young people overcome the challenges of preparing to enter the ICT-related careers. We do this by blended program and post-secondary enrollment programs that blend ICT and business, health, and/or digital media, and we bring them all together. Number 4, which is the area I'm primarily involved in, is regarding international ICT worker integration. One of our most successful programs is under the Immigration Initiative area, and in this area we're paving the way towards integrating IEPs into the Canadian ICT workforce by developing key programs, resources, and tools for IEPs and employers. The 5th area is diverse and an inclusive workforce, and in this area we work to increase awareness and inform young women, Aboriginal First Nations, and youth about ICT jobs in domains such as e-health and the digital media. In this area, our intention is to increase the visibility of role models and mentors who can inspire others, especially young people, Aboriginal First Nations, and youth and women, in these important areas, and to have them consider pursuing an ICT career. So, why ICT's immigration initiative? Well, we found that based on our LMI information that Canada's ICT sector has a skills and labor shortage that's taking place. So, especially in occupations where employers are needing people with the right mix of technical skills, interpersonal skills, and business experience. And what we found is that internationally educated professionals are essential are essential keys to fill the shortages in the labor and skills area of the ICT sector. So IEPs entering into Canada may face a potential mismatch, having the right skills of technical skill, interpersonal skills, business experience, and communication skills. And what I mean by this is that sometimes when they get here, it is a little confusing when you're new to Canada to navigate the whole job search arena and figure out where you fit in this new culture that you've come to. So sometimes this can result in a lack of integration because people are not clear always in where they fit. And as a result, the impact of this can be on the economic areas in Canada and can cause a social crisis in terms of people potentially being underemployed or not finding the right fit in employment for them. So via Immigration Initiative, what we do, especially for ICT professionals, is we have 2 primary objectives. One of them, the first one, is to improve the integration of ICT IEPs. And IEPs, by the way, means internationally educated professionals. And we work to improve their integration into the ICT sector, both in Canada and prior to their arrival in Canada as well. So we have different resources and tools available. So there's the IEP resources and information sessions. We have e-learning tools and online workshops. There are self-assessment tools, and then we also have bridging programs such as the IWES program, which I will talk about a little later. Our second focus is to improve employer awareness of and access to global talent. So we have employer and partner engagement. We like to connect talent to bridging programs. We do have employer tools that could focus on retention and self-assessments for staff, and we have an HR guide and other tools for employers on our website. So this little diagram here is basically ICTC's IEP roadmap to success. So I talked a bit about labor market intelligence earlier. We do have competency profiles and standards that we utilize within the ICT sector. We also do studies on those areas and help develop new competency profiles depending on what the labor market is looking for and new definitions that need to be addressed. We do sector-specific overseas orientation, and in this column, IEPs who are looking to come to Canada can go to our website and access our Canada Readiness tool. They can access our workshops online. We occasionally have labor market sessions that they can participate in, and employers can also engage in that way as well. I'm going to focus on the last column, the sector-specific Canadian orientation. Again, you can utilize the Canada Readiness tools, the workshops online. We have mentorship, bridging, and coaching programs, and again, labor market information, and I'm looking to generate the employer connections as well. So all of these various components help our IEPs in their process of integrating into the ICT industry here in Canada. So, for instance, an IEP can start the process of understanding what it's going to take to become part of the sector here by participating in the Canada Readiness tool and doing the workshops online to assess their skill set and their readiness for the job market here. So this is just a bit about the Canada Readiness tool. It's an online competency-based self-assessment tool that internationally educated professionals can use. It happens to be bilingual, and it's online. The tool provides IEPs with valuable information to better help them understand and integrate into the Canadian ICT workforce before they come to Canada, and they can also use it after arriving here and on an ongoing basis from a professional development perspective. We have in 3 assessment modules. There's workplace culture, workplace communications, and workplace skills. And we have information guides that can help IEPs with their resumes. There's an interview guide and a labor market intelligence guide as well. A bit about the workshops online. This is an e-learning resource for IEPs. And within that resource, there's a language assessment tool. There's communication workshops that they can participate in. They can do some research about getting an ICT job here in Canada and what it will take to build an ICT career here in Canada. So there are also workshops for stakeholders within Canada's ICT sector, and resources for counseling ICT IEPs. And a lot of these tools are available again online on the ICTC website. So, now to focus a bit more on what the bridging program part of Immigration Initiative. IWES, which is the Integrated Work Experience Strategy Program. I am the program manager for that program that operates out of Markham, Ontario. And we operate this program in partnership with JVS out of out of JVS's Markham office, which also houses an Employment Ontario Centre as well. So IWES is an ICTC bridging program that prepares experienced and globally talented ICT professionals for employment in ICT careers here in Canada. IWES is a specialized bridging program that was developed to bridge the soft skills gap often identified by ICT employers. So just a bit of history. The original IWES program was launched I think back in 2009 in Vancouver. It ran as a pilot program there. And the program that ran in Vancouver was very successful. All of the participants gained employment in the ICT sector. As a result of the success of that program, it was considered as a program in Ontario and started in Toronto, out in the Markham office in 2010. We were funded to have 12 intakes. At this point in time, we've completed 9 of the 12 intakes, and the next cohort is scheduled to start on Monday, March 26th. In the Markham office, which is at Warden and 14th Avenue, for those of you who are familiar with the GTA. So the IWES program runs in partnership with JVS. Through the JVS partnership, our IEPs have access to complementary services with JVS that IWES program does not have itself. And the partnership with JVS has been very successful to date, and IEPs have been able to benefit from the services that JVS provides us. The other thing is I just want to say that we are funded by the government. So we receive support for this program from the Government of Canada and through MCI as well. So how does IWES make a difference? We actually work on connecting the dots for IEPs. So what we do is we address employment barriers for highly skilled ICT IEPs. We assist them with securing meaningful employment in the ICT industry, which helps to alleviate Canada's ICT workforce shortages. So the IWES program is progressive in terms of taking the IEP from when they get here in their job search to look at their soft skills and help develop those and to understand the job search arena in Canada, how it works, and how they can then put together a strategy to effectively navigate and find themselves in full-time, meaningful employment in the ICT industry. So how this works. So the IWES program is basically, it's 18 weeks in length, but the training component, the classroom component, is 6 weeks. So in the training program, the 6 weeks basically comprises of, first week is orientation, second week is workplace communication, the third week is workplace cultural intelligence. During the fourth week, we concentrate on business networking and branding, especially via social media channels such as LinkedIn, which is very and critically important to an IT professional, Twitter, Facebook, and blogs. In the fifth week, we focus on the employment preparation and navigating the workplace. So there's resumes, cover letter writing. We do this all the way through the program. Information interviews, and we do mock interviews as well. In the sixth week, there's a focus on presentation by the IEPs, where they talk about their experience of the program. This helps them also with getting over any fear of doing presentations and getting comfortable with their public speaking. So they talk about their assessment of the program, their career path plan, what their job search strategy will be, and what they've learned as a result of being in the program over the 6-week period. After the 6 weeks is over, we enter into what's called the practicum or guided work experience portion of the program, which is for about a 3-month period. I just want to emphasize that during that time, we stay connected with the IEPs. There's a weekly conference call which takes place with the employer liaison that's on our team. And for those IEPs that are not working, they then check in. It's a way of having a support group so that they encourage and support one another through the job search process. The other requirement of the program is that we ask our IEPs to do 20 hours of what we call connect to community work. It's a way of having them integrate and create their network in a social context to have a better understanding of the culture here in Canada. And the other requirement is 20 hours of what we call business networking experience. During the program, we have guest speakers and a corporate connections event, which is basically a speed networking event, actually, where we bring in employers to sit with the IEPs and get to meet each one of them. It's similar to a speed dating scenario. So each IEP has 5 minutes with the employer, and then the bell rings, and then you switch and you ask your questions of the next person. So based on the corporate connections and the guest speaker hours in the classroom, those hours go towards their business networking hours, and then we ask them to also do networking outside of the program as well. Because the reality is when the IEPs come to Canada, they've left their network that was established at home or in the location where they were working before. So we're looking to have them work to build their new network here, because as we all know, a majority of positions that are in the workforce or in the job market here in Canada aren't necessarily posted on Monster or Workopolis or in the newspapers. It really is knowing and establishing your network, because a lot of opportunities come through your network as opposed to other channels. So one other service I wanted to talk about that JVS also provides, and this has been helpful with our IEPs when they're doing their resumes, is their WES assessment. And the WES assessment is done by the World Education Service, where IEPs can have their academic credentials assessed so that there's a Canadian equivalency on their resume. We find that for employers, when they see the academic credentials and they don't necessarily recognize the institution, it could act as a bias for some of them, or they're not sure about the information. So we work with our IEPs to help reduce any of those concerns an employer might have by ensuring that all of their information on their resume is clear, that after having done the WES assessment, there's less questions for employers in terms of understanding what the degrees are that they're looking at mean here in Canada. So the key audiences for the IWES program are, first of all, the IEPs, the global talent who's looking for work in the ICT sector. So just so you know, in terms of the eligibility criteria for the IWES program, IEPs are expected to be recent immigrants to Canada. They have to be here 3 years or less. They have to have previous ICT work experience. They need to be legally entitled to work in Canada. We require a Canadian language benchmark assessment of 7 to 8 in each of the following areas, in each of speaking, reading, writing, and listening skills. The IEP must be unemployed or underemployed. And the key thing is also that they need to have the time. They need to be prepared to make a commitment to complete the 6-week program, because it is full-time, 9 to 4 every day, 5 days a week, for the 6-week period. And the reason I'm here today, our second key audience is employers. I do spend a lot of time at conferences and at workshops focused on IEPs. I don't always get an opportunity to talk to employers, so I was excited to get this opportunity to do this today with the Toronto Board of Trade, to speak to employers about how they might be able to utilize the IWES program as part of their HR hiring strategies and that kind of thing. So we see employers as, I want to meet employers who are looking to hire ICT talent. Given the current demographic trends and global realities, more companies are going to have to hire global talent to stay competitive. I know that my understanding is based on some research and a previous webinar done here through the Toronto Board of Trade, that there is a cost to the industry and to employers of not recognizing credentials or hiring IEPs, and it's in the billions of dollars potentially. So organizational growth, success, and ongoing innovation, all of these objectives depend on people. So to propel your business forward, we'd like to be a part of that, and IWES can help you do that. So the benefits to employers. IWES provides ICT professionals who are prepared and ready to integrate smoothly into your workplace environment. We have candidates who have recent business and networking experience. Our candidates are capable ICT professionals who have training on Canadian workplace communication and culture. And we have a steady stream of qualified and capable professionals ready to hit the ground running and to deliver results for your organization. So I'm here today to invite you to take action now. So how can you hire through IWES? So some other opportunities and benefits to employers are, by utilizing our program, you'll have access to IWES participants, and through this access, it's an excellent supplement to your human resources hiring strategy, with the potential for lower to no recruitment fees. There is a cost for hiring, and I know there's a whole process of, posting job postings. There's a cost associated with that. So, being able to potentially check out candidates before is a way of being able to potentially help you lower recruiting costs. IWES takes the risk out of recruiting by putting you in touch with pre-screened and qualified ICT professionals. You get the first opportunity to review candidates for roles in your organization. You can also tell us about your needs so that we can provide a selection of suitable candidates. You have an employment opportunity available. So let's say you haven't been able to find the right candidate. You could contact us and we'll review our participant database to check to see if we have a possible match. And if we do, we will forward their information to you. And if it's a good fit, then you may make a request because you might want to interview that person. The IWES team, myself and my team, are more than willing to work with you to create a customized hiring strategy, utilizing our program participants as a way for you to find others and that works for your environment and for your organization. Another way you can get involved with us is there are other opportunities that are available through the program. You could provide practicum or placements or co-op opportunities, as they're known, for our IWES graduates. These opportunities our preference is that they be paid practical ICT assignments or projects that are for a minimum 3-month term. We can work with you if we have a candidate that's a good fit for you and you feel that you have a co-op opportunity within your organization that would be a good fit for them. You can interview the clients and we can work with you to make that placement happen for that IWES graduate. The other point that I have here about onboarding and orientation process, I was at the HRTA conference and some of the HR professionals I met mentioned that could we find a way to integrate using the IWES training program components as part of an organization's onboarding process. We're open to negotiating and considering that because it could be part of your probationary period or complement your new hire process depending on what it is that you need. We could work with you to work out and come up with a strategy that might be good for your organization and good for our IEPs as a way of integrating them into your company. Another opportunity is post-hire support. Some of the examples I was given by HR professionals was, is there a way that we could potentially utilize components of the 6-week program for post-hire workplace support, such as workplace communication or cultural support for ICT professionals currently working in some of the organizations. Some people gave me examples of IEPs who are working in their company but are having a bit of a challenge adjusting to the workplace culture, and they were wondering if there was a way of being able to utilize some of the components that we use in terms of our curriculum in the IWES program that might be useful to the IEPs who are currently working for them, because the company wants to maintain the talent, but was also open to considering ways of being able to bridge any cultural differences or challenges in the organization to support the IEPs who are currently working for them. Another opportunity or option you have is referrals. Now that you know a bit about the program, you might be able to, in your work, you may come across IT professionals who are not necessarily ready for your organization, but if you meet candidates who are not ready but who meet the IWES program eligibility requirements, you could refer them to our program. So candidates or clients, and also candidates or clients who may need to build their confidence or need training in workplace communication and culture or business networking or how to market themselves more effectively. If they're here under 3 years and you meet these types of candidates, you could potentially refer them to the IWES program or at least to the ICTC website. This way, at least you know if they're not necessarily a good fit for your organization, you might be able to refer them on to something where they will be helped and be in a better position to potentially come back and be working in your organization at a later date. And lastly, another way to get involved in our program is that you could come as a guest speaker. And I believe that with the HRPA, coming as a guest speaker to our program would count towards your continuing credits in terms of your renewal. It will count by coming to our program as a guest speaker or to participate in a corporate connections event as a mentor in one of our events. So that comes to the end of my presentation about the program itself. So to take action now or to get involved as an employer in the IWES program, you can certainly email me at my email address, which is n.ford@ictc-ctic.ca. I'll just take a few moments to talk about a few success stories. The one that's in the presentation deck is from our Vancouver program, where Mary Lou, who came in 2008, attended an ICTC session in the Philippines. So as I mentioned earlier, we also have IEPs who start the process from their home country before they get here. Mary Lou was one of those. She was originally headed for Winnipeg. She participated in the pilot testing of the ICT tools in development. She did eventually go to Vancouver. She was accepted into the pilot program of IWES in 2009. That was in March, and by April she secured a practicum, and by August of that year she was working at the practicum employer's office. So she's with Atumi out in Vancouver. In Toronto, we have a number of success stories. I have so many I could talk all day about them, but I'll concentrate on a couple of them. We have IEPs who now work in project management at some of the major financial institutions in Toronto. I have one example of a gentleman who was from the Ivory Coast. When he came into the program, he was a telecom billing specialist, and I have to admit at the time I was thinking, okay, what company can we get him placed with? Do we have a relationship? That kind of thing. Anyway, he got through the program. He was successful. It so happened that we made a connection with an employer who is in the telecom business and who happened to have an area in their organization that deals with telecom billing, and they were looking to work with organizations that are in the Ivory Coast and to expand the market in that area. The resume for this gentleman was forwarded to the employer, and then the employer got back and interviewed the IEP, and that person is now working for that employer. What happens is the IWES program had a graduation event last Friday on March the 9th, and this particular IEP was unable to attend because he's working and he was away on business in the Ivory Coast, actually. So it was a good fit for him, perfect fit for the skill set that he brought here, and he completed our program at the end of 2011, and he's now working in 2012. So we have a number of other stories. We'll be posting them on our website as well. So I'm going to conclude at this point and also say again that if you want to get involved as an employer, you can email us at the IWES program, either for information at IWES ON for IWES on at ICTC.ca, or you can email me again at m.ford@ICTC-ctic.ca. And one more thing I just want to say. So in conclusion, this quote, I love this quote. And the day came when the risk to remain tight in a bud was more painful than the risk it took to blossom. From Aeneas Nin. And I'm hoping that employers will feel over the next little while that the risk of not hiring IEPs will be a little more painful than the risk it will be to actually engage them and hire them into your organization so that you can leverage their talent. Thank you very much for being on the call today. I really appreciate it. So I'm open to your questions now.
Thank you. Did you want to also talk a little bit about the directory as well as the quarterly newsletters before I open it up to some questions?
Sure. I put those extra slides in there just to let people know that on our website we do have a directory of ICT employers, and it's a Canadian directory. You're free to go. It's free. You can go and look at it. It's a searchable tool. If you're not in there, we can certainly get you included. So I just wanted to put that in there for your information. Our IEPs also look at this directory in terms of determining IT companies that would be a good fit for them to explore in terms of looking for work and potentially finding an opportunity within an organization. Also on our website, you can sign up we have an HR quarterly newsletter, so you can certainly sign up for that. I'd encourage you to go and explore our website to see beyond the newsletter what other additional information we have available to you. We have a lot of, as I said earlier, labor market information. We have surveys that are put out monthly. There's, if you follow the employer path within the ICTC website, there are many tools. There's the HR guide, there's competency profiles, there's a wealth of information for you to explore that you might be able to leverage within your organization. Okay?
Great, fantastic. Thanks, Maureen, and thanks for your time today with us at the Toronto Board of Trade today. We really want to open up this session to some of your questions. So if you have any, please send them our way through the chat panels or through the Q&A panels. While we're waiting, again, I just want to direct your attention to the screen. We put up Maureen's contact information, so if any of you have any specific questions that you want to contact her directly, she has generously told me that she welcomes any emails, or you can phone her as well at 905-917-2019. Great. Well, I think we will end that session today. We want to be mindful of everyone's time. So thank you all again for joining us today, and we really thank you for your valuable time, and have a great day.